Hi everyone, it's Theresa with craftywiththeresa. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I have for you the process video of the one sheet wonder I prepared a few days ago. In today's video, I'll share the pattern paper, the cardstock, and the individual card cuts for you. I'll share some cards throughout the video as well. I did change a few of the card layouts, like some will be horizontal and others vertical. You'll see the different versions of them scattered throughout this video. Also, I've highlighted 3 cards in this video today because I'm super excited to be able to share those with you. They are the patchwork border card, the bookbinder card, and the gatefold card. We'll briefly touch on the other cards also. Now, enough of my chatting, let's get started. First, let's take a quick look at the diagrams with the different cuts on them. We're just going to page through this quickly because I'll show you these guides throughout this video. Now on the pattern paper cuts, so the first thing I tried to do is I tried to make it very simple. We're actually going to work on 4 by 12 strips here. So we'll cut at 4 inches, so each strip will be 4 by 12. On the first strip, we'll cut it to 4 by 4. Now, one thing I would recommend is if you don't have these handy, I would get some little envelopes and label them and put each of the card numbers on the envelopes. It just helps keep the pieces in the right pouch for you. This first 4 by 4 strip, we'll go ahead and put it into card number 1. There will be additional cuts to card number 1, but we'll get back to that in just a little bit. Now let's cut another 4 by 4, and this will be for card number 2. So let's put it in the card number 2 envelope, which, as a reminder, is your bookbinder card. Now we're going to hold on that last 4 by 4 piece for just a minute or two. We'll come back to that piece because it will be cut down for other cards. Now for cards 3 and 4, we'll need 4 by 5.5 inches pieces of pattern paper. What we'll do is on the 12-inch side, we'll take the 2 sheets, put them together, and stack them and cut at 5 1/4. This is called a stack and cut. These 2 4 by 5 1/4 inch pieces will be for cards 3 and 4. For card 5 and 6, they'll need to be the same. We'll need a 4 by 5 1/4 also. We'll stack and cut and put these 2 pieces in the card envelopes for 5 and 6. We'll take the remaining 4 by 6 3/4, and on the 6 3/4 side, we'll stack and cut them to 4 by 5 1/4. Now you're left with 2 pieces, and these 2 pieces will be for card number 5. The last 4 by 4 piece, we'll make some individual cuts here and we'll place them into the card numbers 4 and 2. The first cut will be a 1-inch cut, and we'll slide it over and cut this strip in half because we need that for card number 4. So that will be 2 1/2-inch strips. The last cut for this first round of cutting will be to cut 2 pieces that we need for the bookbinder card. Again, this is card number 2. We'll cut these into 2 1-inch strips, place these in the card number 2 envelope, and now that's ready to go. Now let's work on the individual cards that need some additional cuts. The first one will be for card number 1. If you watched my previous video a few weeks ago, I showed you a sample of a patchwork border card. We walked through the cuts in that video, but we'll go through them again quickly today. On that 4x4 square, what we'll do is we'll cut them into 2-inch strips. Now, we'll cut those 2-inch strips in half. What we're looking for is a 1x4 strip here. The other pieces that you need for this card, you need 1x3 strips. So we're going to just do another stack and cut here. We're going to cut it at 1 inch, then we're going to stack them up, rotate them, and cut them at 3 inches. So for this card, you're going to have 2 1x4 strips and 2 1x3 strips. And we're going to put those in the card envelope number 1. Now we'll skip card number 2. For card number 3, this is really simple, and it's just one cut. So on the 5 1/4 inch side, you're actually going to take it and cut it at 3 1/4. Those will be the 2 pieces that you need for card number 3. And the last of these pattern paper cuts will be for card number 6. This is our gatefold card. This is also a vertical card. On the 4-inch side, we'll make that cut directly in half, and that will be at 2 inches. So these strips will be 2 by 5 1/4 inches. And let's put those inside the card number 6 envelope. Now let's move on over to the cardstock cuts. This was a challenge for me because when I make my base borders for my cards, normally I just wing it. I line up my pattern paper really close to the edge, and I leave about 1/8 of an inch, and then I just cut it. So I guess I'm more of a visual person, but for this video I had to actually figure out the measurements, which is not my cup of tea if you've been watching my videos, but I tried very carefully to figure it out and put it in this video for you, so we'll see how it goes. The 2 pieces that I used for these designs I used sapphire. You'll need one 12 by 12. And the second cardstock you'll need, I think you can get by with 8.5 by 11. Or you can do like I did. I had some scraps, so you'll see me use them in this video. So the first cut that I think works best is I cut one strip off the bottom. Then I rotated that piece and cut it at 8.5. Now you have an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. On the 11-inch side, I cut it at 5.5. What you're doing is creating the bases for cards 1, 3, 4, and 5. After the 5.5-inch cut, I'll stack these two pieces together and cut them at 4.25. You now have 4 card bases. Again, these are for cards 1, 3, 4, and 5. Now let's make the cuts for cards 2 and 5. On the remaining piece, the 3.25-inch piece, you're going to cut the first strip at 1.25. Now you'll rotate that strip and cut it at 4.25, and this is for card number 2. The remaining piece, you need 2 strips of 2 by 4. So you'll cut the first cut at 2 inches, you'll rotate them and cut them at 4, and place these into the card number 5 envelope. Now the last 2 cardstock base cuts, again, I used up my scraps here. You need one 4.25 by 4.25. Then you need another 2 strips that will be for card number 6. And those need to be at 2.25 by 5.5. Now for the individual cards. Let's look at card number 1. It's such an easy card, but it's one of my favorites. But here's where I struggle a bit. It's hard to decide, should I go with vertical or horizontal? You'll see that I have examples of both in today's video. Now let's line up the pieces. In my last video, I showed you how you can use this envelope and removable tape to line and place these pieces on the card base. I've mentioned there are more than one way to do things. Pick the one that works for you. So today, here's just a plastic envelope. I've placed a grid mat inside that has 2 rectangles. The outer edge is 4.25 by 5.5, which is your standard A2 card base. The inside is 4 by 5.25. we'll use that inside rectangle to line up our cuts because we want that white border around the edge. Once we like where they are, we'll line them up. We'll place a piece of press and seal on top, grab them, and place them on top of our base. Now here I'm showing you the focal points, which is a 3x4 oval. We'll talk more about the plan for the focal points later in this video. So for card number 2, let's take a look at this bookbinder card. First, you'll need your card base to be 4 1/4 by 11. So once you have that, you can make your scoring cuts. The first score will be at 5 1/2, then you'll score it at 6 3/4. Now let's fold it. Generally what I do is I fold it at the 5 1/2 inch side first, because that's just your basic card fold. Then what I do is I take that other piece and I fold it back on itself. That's how easy this is. Next, we'll take some really strong tape, place it inside on that 1 1/4 strip, and secure it really well. Now, we'll fold it over on top of itself, making sure the sides are lined up, and this is what makes that book binder type look. Take a look. Card number 3, if you remember, we basically took 2 pieces to make this card. What we'll do is we'll add it to the base. This paper, again, so pretty. I struggled with it. What you'll see is different versions of this one also. You'll see in this example I fidget around a little bit trying to decide how I want that look, and I eventually make a horizontal card in this set. Very, very simple. Take a look. Card number 4. So card number 4 is a pretty simple card design. You can move it around, you can change how you want the strips to look, and you can flip over the pattern paper. So many different ways to do it. So I decided on the side with the camera and the sweet moments that would be what we would place on our base. The strips on the design show up around the bottom third of the card. However, I thought I'd show you something different. What if we took the strips and placed them to the side of our focal point? Anyway, as usual, I kept overthinking it. That's something I seem to always want to do. Oh, and I'm not sure I mentioned this, but the 1-inch strip that we cut off of that first piece of 12 by 12 paper, you'll use it here. You'll take the 2 1/2-inch strips and you'll place them on that 1-inch piece. Make them flush to the edge, but just a little piece of that cardstock peeking through at the top and bottom. Take a look at this one and tell me what you think. I think it turned out cute. For card number 5, this will not be a difficult card, basically. What I thought would look really kind of nice here would be this design. Oops, got it that way. This design. So just a little sneak peek of that showing. Put this here and put our focal point right in the middle. I think this could be a good design. Card number. Now for card number 6, we know that this is going to be a vertical card, so we need it to be 5 1/2. So we're going to take this and we're going to cut our 8 1/2 by 11 inch paper, and we're going to cut it at 5 1/2. The next cut, actually the next thing we'll do is we'll take this and we'll score this at 2 1/4. Now, there's a couple ways you could do this. You could score it with your scoring board. Mine's out, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Or you could basically set it on your mat and fold it to where both ends meet in the middle. It's that simple to make these gatefold cards. And you will end up, this should be at 2 1/4. You can actually set it down here on your mat. And you can go at your 2 1/4 mark, and you can take it and even it with your mark here on your grid mat. Lots of different ways to do this, but we know for sure that these are going to be 2 1/4 because we've already cut these to meet this. Okay? like to use my scoring on my trimmer, because I've been so lucky to be able to get this trimmer. I've been waiting for a while to get this trimmer. Just so that I'm sure they're going to be straight, because I'm giving these as a gift. I want to make sure they're straight. This entire package is going as a, this entire set is going as a gift. See how much crisper that is and how easy that is to fold. So there is a little strip here that's just a little bit further more than what we need, but I'm okay with that, because what I'll do is I will put that strip on the inside, and really, honestly, it's not going to be that noticeable, because what I'll do is I'll make sure that it meets here, and if I have to, I'll take it, I'll flip it over, and I'll cut off the edges here. Obviously, I'm just doing this quickly for you, but we'll cut off the edge if there's too much there. I'm not a big fan of trying to do 5/8 and 7/8 and 3/8, just not my thing. So anyway, I'll trim those up as I need to put these cards together. And of course, here's the piece that'll go on top. I'll make a decision as to which one of these I'll put on top. Ooh, I'm not sure. They're both awesome. I kind of like this because there's so much more you can do with that when you have these gatefold cards. Maybe put both. And since I do have some strips, I may put one of those on the inside. I think what it'll have to be is it'll have to be this way. I like that. The next thing I want to show you, instead of doing this on the video today, I'm just going to show you what I've done and how I do things a little bit. So I have numerous, when I get a new stamp set, I stamp, and I stamp them on different shapes a lot of times. So I have numerous different types of stamps that I wanted to use in this set because I feel like it goes so well with it. But I stamped several of them in ovals, so I'm prepared for that. I stamped some in squares. The squares are 3 by 4, so this will look good on our patchwork card. I stamped them both ways so that I can make a decision, and if I need to make that an oval, I make it an oval. These are kind of light. The ink that I used was sage, but I thought it looked good and matched very well with the colors within this paper pack. Please do let me know what you think, if there's anything else I can do to make these one sheet wonders easier for you. Again, this was a more complicated one, I think. Most of the time you just cut a lot of the same sizes in a one sheet wonder, and I will do some of those. But I was really excited to get to show you, or try to show you, a way to do this. I currently have, and I'll show some of those cards here at the end, the ones that I finished. I currently have 18 cards done so far, and I have another set of cards to do yet. So, I hope you liked this video today. If you do, if you liked it, would you please hit that subscribe button and hit that notification button so you can see the new videos as they come in. And if you'll like and comment on my video, it helps YouTube to notice me. So I want to thank you again for joining me today, and until next time, have a great day.